Okay, guys, let's continue on. We're going to go to the next segment here. We're going to, we just finished basics of navigation, not land nav, just basics of navigation as to how to get home. Something happened and you had to get home. That's about. It's the last video. This video is going to be on medical stuff for your Get Home Alive bag. It's not going to be this, okay? So this is full of medical kit. Alright? I just brought this out as a prop. So this is full of medical kit. This does not go in your Get Home Alive bag. You got to remember, anything that is in a bag that you're carrying in your car or your truck, you have at your workplace, okay? It is to get you home alive. It is not considered to be end all be all, right? So this right here, you could use this as a medic bag. You could use something like this. Now, this is just to illustrate that's a large kit full of medical gear. All right. But what you need in your Get Home bag is going to be what you need to get from point A to point B, and that's it, right? You're not going into combat, hopefully. Hopefully it's just some kind of a situation that you need to get home without a lot of problems. We want to get you home without a lot of problems. Of course, we are going to address how to take care of problems later on in this series if you end up getting into a situation that you need to. That's where we talk about all this over here, you know, with self-preservation, self-defense, right? But this is medical. In your Get Home bag, when we talk about medical stuff in our Get Home bag, we're not talking about a blowout kit or a trauma kit, an IFAC. We're not talking about that like you would carry on your web gear. Get Home bag. So how are you primarily going to get home in general? Let's say your car's knocked out. EMP knocked out all the electronics in your car. Doesn't start. Okay? You're on foot now. Things you got to think about in your medical kit. Things that take care of your feet, for instance. So, on your Get Home bag, I call your medical supplies in your Get Home bag Basics Plus. That's what I call it. So, you got like foot powder, you got moleskin, you know, your distance home could be, let's say you're 5 miles from home. Probably not going to need moleskin or any of that. Probably not going to even need a Get Home bag. 5 miles, you just run home. But let's say you're 20 miles and things are bad. There was a nuclear strike in a nearby city. You're a couple 100 miles away, or you're 100 miles away, or you're 50 miles away, you know. But there's some things going on. Things got a little wild. So you got to be ready for some basic stuff, right? Basics Plus. So let's say it's a little bit beyond everybody's cars being conked out from an EMP. Let's say that things have already started to get out of hand because people's tempers flared. And I've been in that situation. People's tempers flared, and it got to the point where somebody might die, and I intervened. Okay, so that can happen. But getting to your medical your medical supplies to get from point A to get home, point B, right? So I've got basics plus. So on your feet, let's say you got 20 miles. Let's say you're not used to, because all this stuff is based on the everyday person. Let's say you're not used to walking 20 miles. Let's say you never walked 20 miles in your life. And then you have your get home bag with you. So you're carrying a little bit of weight, right? So you got the basics plus kit. You're going to have foot powder in there. You're going to have moleskin in there. You're going to need some medical tape, possibly to patch yourself up. If it got a little wild and there were explosions and you got a laceration from something flying through the air, maybe it grazed you and you got a cut and you need to patch yourself up, something like that, right? You're going to want a few little extras in there. Not a full-blown trauma kit, but you want a few extras in there. Basics plus, right? So you're going to want maybe a quick clot, some kind of a trauma bandage. You're going to want some alcohol wipes to clean yourself up. You might want some, you might want some iodine swabs, things like that. Just basic plus medical kit to clean yourself up, patch yourself up. They got things like zip stitches, which are basically kind of like a cross between a butterfly bandage, or it's kind of like a butterfly bandage with zip ties. You put it across the laceration after you cleaned it, and you put it across that laceration and you zip it shut, and then you're going to put medical tape over it, right? If you don't, you're not going to be sitting there giving yourself stitches, hopefully, in the middle of a situation. Now, along with that basics plus medical, you're going to want some basic hygiene items like wet wipes. You need to keep clean. You need to keep yourself clean. You're going to want to have alcohol wipes, wet wipes, and that sort of thing. You keep yourself clean. If you got some kind of wounds that you need to tend to regularly as you're making yourself home from point A to point B, you're going to want to be able to clean yourself up and keep those wounds clean as you go. You may only have to just address it one time, and then you get yourself home. But if it turns into being an ordeal to get home, then you may have to take off the tape or even the gauze bandage that you put on there as well, and all that. Whatever you did to address your situation, whatever it happened to be, you might have to remove all that, clean it up again. So you had to go through something, you got real dirty. You got to keep that clean. So you're going to have to possibly take off those bandages, clean it up, and address it all again, and then continue on. It might be a situation where you got to continue to revisit that situation. So yeah, the medical kit, you're going to look at it's basic items plus basic things to keep your feet in good order while you're making it home. spend a little bit extra just in case there were explosions, shrapnel through the air, and that sort of thing, so that you can, you know, and of course you got to know how to use those things. You can't just like buy something and you can't just put it in your pack. Okay, you need to know how to use those things. So you could take medical courses. Okay, you could do that. Go out and take yourself some basic medical courses to help you deal with situations like that. You know. But in the get home scenario, you're not gonna need much more than the basics. Basically, keeping your feet in good order and blisters, things like that. That's pretty much what you're gonna need with your get home alive bag, as far as medical stuff and your hygiene. So if you got to go to the bathroom on the way home, you got the wet wipes. You know, yeah. See what I'm saying? So we're going to go ahead and leave off with the medical and the hygiene, and then we're going to come back and we'll talk a little bit more about more of these subjects. Like I always say, if you have questions or you want to bounce something off of me, ask my opinion on something, email. Alright? Email. Not a problem. Okay? I'm coming back to you in another video, so I will see you there.